howdy y'all, this is Jason from Southern Bush Motorsports. I am the owner and founder of Southern Bush Motorsports. I have a great tales from the bush for you today, and this really was from the bush, or shall I say, the Florida Everglades, because that's where I found this car. It was a scary trip. It was really hard to find this guy. I was warned not to go near this guy. When I finally got to the area, I went to the local diner, and they said, yeah, we knew who that guy is, but you better not go out to his property. You either get shot or bit by a snake. And let me tell you something, they weren't kidding. This guy was, he ended up being a pretty nice guy, but he was definitely out there. And there was a reason why he was out there, because he raised exotic snakes for their venom. Now, even though he was out in the Florida Everglades, out in the swamp, the work that he was doing was kind of important, because he raised these snakes so they could be milked, so antivenoms could be made from their venom. So he had some pretty crazy, dangerous snakes. I mean, I saw cobras and black mambas, and it was just crazy. But the one thing he had is, people in town called him the Bee Man. They called him the Bee Man because he had a lot of super bees, including this one. This is going to be a tough tale to swallow, and you make all the comments you want. I really don't care. I got all my information. I talked to the people that were involved. That is the first super bee prototype, the only prototype that was ever made. So here goes the story. The last time I aired this story, boy, did I get myself into a lot of trouble with Dodge themselves, actually. And it was pretty scary. We're talking threatening lawsuits, they want the car back, all this stuff. It was kind of nuts. So I'm going to tell you the story the way I heard it and the way I actually found out. See that Super B symbol right there? What looks like it's missing from that? That would be the B. Because the guy hadn't decided, or the company hadn't decided, if they were going to actually put the B in the middle of that thing or not. So what the guy did is he put it on the back. He actually painted that on the back. That is not a sticker, that was painted on there. So as the story goes, the first story I heard and what I actually verified, kind of the same to kind of different. This would have been the first actual car that was made after they did the clay model. The clay model got approved and they said, okay, make the prototype. So when they make a prototype, they basically, well, look at how solid that quarter was. They basically put the car together, but nothing's really bolted together. It's more or less so that the people on the assembly line, the engineers and all that, can come together and look at it and go, okay, this is what our plan is. This is great. But, you know, the car's complete. It's an actual car, but it's not a running and driving car. And from what I understood from the person that I talked to, nothing was really bolted on properly. So after this car was put together and made, now, it was a little bit sketchy if it was the guy that designed the Super Bee or the guy that actually put the first prototype together, the only prototype, together. But he got canned, he got axed, he got fired. And he was a little bit ticked off about all that because he put a lot of work into this car. So what does he decide to do? He decides to get drunk at work and steal the car. So why does this car look so bad in the front? Well, I'm going to tell you why the car looks so bad in the front. So the day he stole it, the day he got fired, he was out driving, and he said he was into it pretty good. And the reason I know this story is true, you see the 4-speed hump there, it was a 426 Hemi 4-speed. The reason I know this story is true is because I put a little time, a little bit of effort into it, and I actually found the guy that did this. And I talked to him on the phone. And when I showed him the pictures, I emailed him the pictures, he said there is no way there was anything left of that car. That car was a ball of flames. He said to me, he said, I was driving a car. That was a parts card that I ended up giving with the Super Bee when I sold it. He was driving the car. He spilt his coffee, or it was an 8-track. He said he dropped an 8-track on the ground. He reached down to grab the 8-track. When he looked up, he hit the back of a parked 18-wheeler. Car exploded. Truck was parked on the side of the road. He hit it dead on in the back. Car exploded. I said, well, where'd the engine go? And he goes, the engine went about 400 feet into the middle of the other side of the highway. And he said it wouldn't matter anyways. There was no numbers on the motor. There was a blank block. It was just kind of like a put together engine, but the car ran and drove. he said the reason that I crashed it because the car wasn't really bolted together. The steering wheel wasn't bolted in. Uh, he goes, I don't even think the wheels were bolted on properly. I was so hammered it didn't matter. And he said the Hemi engine went flying across the street along with the transmission. Ripped the gear shifter out and everything. He said it was horrible. But, in my opinion, the car was savable. Just the engine and transmission and that were missing. And he told me, he said, I'll tell you what. He said, you air that car on your show or channel or whatever it is back when I found it. He goes, you might catch a little bit of trouble for it because Dodge was a little bit ticked off because the car ended up going into a police or insurance auction, and the car got auctioned off. Now, I don't believe it was this guy, the snake man that I'll call him, that bought the car. Look at how solid and straight that car is. Nothing from the front doors back, the car was perfect. Absolutely perfect. But she was rough. I wish I still had the picture of the VIN number, but it was the 01 VIN number. And that's how I knew there was something different about the car. The guy that owned the car didn't know exactly what it was. He just knew it was off. He didn't know why the B wasn't put there. And asked the guy why the B symbol wasn't in the middle of the circle. You can see it's not there. He said, well, the big wigs hadn't decided if the B was going to go there or not. So I hand painted it on the back so they could see what I was thinking. So after having to live out on this guy's property, I'm showing the same pictures because there was only a few pictures. After having to live out on this guy's property for about 4 days, scary enough as it was, I didn't want to be there because I knew there were snakes everywhere. I got the thing dragged out and I got it sold. It went up to a private collector. Not the nicest guy in the world, caused me a lot of problems. But just as I had sold the car, I got a call from the big wigs themselves. They wanted the car back. I said, well, I'm sorry, I already sold the car. They're like, no, you don't understand. We want the car back so we can put it in get it restored and put it in our museum. I'm like, well, it kind of sucks to be you, but the car's been sold, and I'm not going to go back on what I've already done because I've already been paid for the car. Well, we'll offer you this amount of money. And I was like, first thing I did was call my dad to get some advice because it was like 100 times more than I sold the car for, and it was just stupid money. You can see that firewall. It's pretty banged up, but the car is definitely savable. Rough as hell, but it's savable. So I ended up turning down the big wigs themselves, and I'm not saying big wigs because I don't want to say the actual name, but the people that owned the car originally. And I ended up delivering the car, and then all kinds of other stuff started because I decided to drive, when I was driving from the Florida Everglades up to Nebraska, I believe it was, I had put in the window on the back of the Super Bee, first Super Bee ever made. Well, apparently a lot of people saw that, and the word got out pretty quick, and people ran my plate and all that. I was just stupid. I don't know why I did it. I was excited because I had never found a car like this before. So honest to goodness, I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but it caused me a lot of problems, lots of people, lots of phone calls, lots of letters. It was just insane. But at the end of the day, even with all the people that were stopping me, offering me literally a ton of money, way more than I sold it for on the way up there, it was a pretty rough time because it was like, man, I could really use that extra money, but you know, it is what it is. I sold it. I'm going to stick with my guns. I'm not going to do the guy wrong. Probably should have because he was a bit of a dick, but you know, what can you do? So that's what you're looking at. You're looking at the first Super Bee ever made, and because it was the first Super Bee ever made, they decided to put a 426 Hemi 4-speed in it, and because it was the car that everybody was going to look at before building the car, it had all the options on it. And it had the 8-track, the microphone tele-talking thing that you could talk into. The guy said it had everything. Obviously, it didn't have AC or anything like that, but you know, the car was put together so they could build it afterwards. But that's it. The story's out. It was me. It was me that found that car, and you know, I wish now I wouldn't have sold the car. But this guy also had a bunch of other cars on the property. That was a 440 Super Bee, but that's about as far as it went. I think it was a 4-speed car, but with nothing past that. But it was a pretty complete car. That was a 383 Super Bee. I bought that car and the green one. Actually, no, I don't think I bought the green one, but I did buy this red one. There's so many cars out there. They were just piled in everywhere. I definitely bought that car. That car was a blast. That was a 68 440 Super B, 4-speed. And let me tell you, that car was a runner. Big old, I think they were Kelly Springfield tires on the back. That's the interior of that that 71 Charger. No, that looks like it was a automatic car. I don't see any clutch pedals in there. Like I said, it's been 15, 20 years since I've seen this, but the car was cool, super solid, super complete. That was the Survivor. That was the original paint. That was a completely untouched car. Well, I hope you enjoyed this Tales from the Bush, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, it would really help if you can contribute to the Patreon page so we can keep on doing this. Keep on collecting, all you guys.